Hey guys, happy Tuesday evening. We're making it through the week. Sorry I had to stumble there. I came into work on Sunday all day long, so for me it feels like a synthetic Wednesday. But welcome back, Option Engineer here. And what I want to start doing on these videos, I want to come a bit more consistently and do just small bite-sized live streams because I'm getting a lot of good feedback about me putting out my trades and putting my performance out there for you guys. But I'm hearing that people want to see like the rationale behind my trades, the chart pattern, or whatever justification that I'm using for why I'm placing the trade. And if I come back after a week and I've made maybe 15 or 20 trades in that time frame, I have a lot to cover, and so they drag on a long time. I just don't want to do that to you guys. I want to respect your time. So what I'm going to do, and if you guys like it, I'll keep doing it. If not, I'll adjust it because this is really just it's good for me to get exposure and to learn what I'm doing, testing out options, and hopefully helping somebody along the way. So what I'll start doing as of now is just show you the trades that I made for that particular day. But as always, we'll go ahead and show you that today was a very slight down day. I'm not too worried about it. I'm still happy with how my position is, or how my portfolio is positioned. So no changes really to make in terms of my overall strategy, just waiting for things to come in. So popping into the platform here, here's my overall position. As you can see, I've got a nice, relatively normal looking distribution over the current stock price of SPY, which is what you want to do if you're maintaining a delta neutral portfolio. And I want to cover in a bit more detail today the trade that I placed, which was my first ever put side broken wing butterfly in SPY. And I had heard about broken wing butterflies and iron butterflies and things like that, and I got very comfortable with iron butterflies, but I never tried the broken wing version. And after having put this one on, I'll watch to see how it goes over the course of the next 38 days or so, and I'll see. But I like the idea, I like the concept, and I want to explain that to you guys here a little bit as well. And while I'm here, if you guys want to kind of see what I'm doing throughout the day, I am starting to keep my trades on Twitter as well. I think Twitter is a great medium for things like this. It's got an active following of traders. So if you look for Option Engineers, my handle, and what you'll see is I'm going to start using the hashtag Option Engineer and the ticker symbol whenever I'm placing a trade. So for example, if you go up here and you look for KRE, you should be able to pull up my trade journal for the strangle I made in KRE a little while back. And if I'm looking at SPY, this will pull up some information, and I try to post this right around the time that I place a trade. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. It's not a trade recommendation. First of all, I'm not a licensed professional or anything of that nature. This is all on you guys, but it's me just opening up the conversation and seeing if it's helpful for anybody. But what I like about this is that you can kind of have that running stream of what you're doing as you're going through your trade analysis. And it's just a useful thing to be able to share and have that conversation. And it's pretty efficient. So one thing that people ask to see is kind of my setup, and at the time of me placing the trade, what I was looking at. So I can't go back in time, and unfortunately I'm at my day job when I'm placing the trade, so I can't exactly go live and show you guys what I'm doing when I'm doing it, but I can take a screenshot and post it on Twitter so you guys can see. So what I like about broken wing butterflies, and we'll go into the mechanics here in a second, but what I like about it is primarily these suckers right here. A very high probability of profit, and obviously an even higher P50 value, which is the probability that it touches the 50% of max profit at some point in the contract. And what's really beautiful about this is it kind of shows a histogram of how often it hits on that day. So over here at 10 days out, 5% of the time, the winning trades are hitting that 50% mark. So the put side broken wing butterfly, what is that? What does it mean? Let's pop into the platform and explain it for you. So what it looks like, I'm going to go ahead and hide my overall portfolio and just pull up my SPY position. And I love this about the Tastyworks platform. It makes it super easy for you to look at your analyze. It's kind of like the analyze tab from Thinkorswim, but a very kind of dumbed down version. You don't get a ton of functionality with it, but it tells you just enough to, in my opinion, be useful. So the broken wing butterfly, what it is in a nutshell is it's a slightly directional strategy. Well, it is a directional strategy where you get to pick if you're bearish or bullish on a position, but it allows you to define your risk and gives you, like options does, multiple ways to profit. So here, as you can see from the green, I can profit if the stock price goes up, and I'll profit by the amount of the initial credit that I received. So if I go down here and I look, I place the trade and I received $44 on trade entry. So if the stock price just continues to move up, I'll keep all $44. No muss, no fuss. But what's even more interesting is that if I'm wrong, but only by a little bit, I can start popping into this range here where my value goes up dramatically from the $44 at this flat area and then up to $131, which is my max profit for this trade. And I'll show you when we go and duplicate this trade why that is. But that's what gives it that broken wing aspect of it, because you got one wing out here, one wing all the way down here. The difference in the height is, I guess, the brokenness, the level of brokenness of the wing. So that's kind of how I interpret it, at least. It doesn't really look like a butterfly to me, but hey, who am I to judge? And what's also nice about this as well, because it's a defined risk trade, and as you'll see, it kind of has, in my opinion, a pretty strict way that you're looking to set this thing up. It doesn't use a lot of buying power reduction, and it allows you to ladder on more of these if you so choose to, or add more tranches, add more number of contracts when you're doing it. I didn't for this one, simply because it's my first one putting on. I kind of want to see how it works, how it looks and feels in practice before I start adding more. But as we go and duplicate this trade, you'll see that it was a very small position for me, especially given that it's 4 contracts. It's a small position, but I want to just kind of watch it and see how it goes. So what we'll do is, and if you guys are watching, ask a question, or if you want to talk more about your understanding of broken wing butterflies, I'm all for it. But in the activity tab on the filled order, I can go ahead and hit the duplicate order button, and that'll pop me up to exactly what I placed, and you can see the statistics of this trade here. Again, I didn't place the trade at these prices, so that's what the screenshots on Twitter are for, but you can kind of get the general idea that you got a defined risk trade of $256 maximum loss with $144 maximum profit. Now, I'm not really expecting to get $144 out of this trade, but that is, theoretically the maximum that you can pull out of this thing. So let's go ahead and let's put one on. And in order to avoid all the positions I have here, let's go ahead and put one on in a different underlying. Or, I'll tell you what, let's put it on the call side and not on the put side. Works the same way. And I'll show you the curve view that shows the profitability zones once we go through it. So the way that I set it up was select a near at the money strike price and buy that option. So I'm going to buy the 241 here in this example, and then you can move 1 or 2 strikes further away from the current stock price. I'll just go 1 away for now, and you're going to sell that option. And in Tastyworks, every platform has their own way to do this, but in Tastyworks, you want to double up on this contract. So I just clicked on the contract again to highlight it, and I'll add 1 more to the quantity. And what you can do is, as you're looking over here, you can see I'm at a 96-cent credit so far from what I've constructed here. So one of the big goals in broken wing butterflies is to not have risk on one side of the trade. That's what jumps your probability of profit up so significantly. So for here, I've got my yardstick of I can't buy a final wing of protection that costs more than $96. Otherwise, I'll start to take a debit, and it's not the goal of the strategy. So you can kind of go shopping down here and see what you want to buy. One that sticks out to me pretty quickly is this 244. It costs, let's say, $76 to buy this one. So when I buy it, you'll see I'm still routing this order for a net credit of 20 cents. And so that's what gives you no risk to one side. Let me show you the curve view so that makes even more sense. Let me hide my positions. So here you go. So this is where the current price is, and you can kind of see where the options that I purchased, sold, and purchased again is. And so my max loss does exist here at $80. That's not a huge max loss, and my maximum profit is right here where these two short strikes are. Unfortunately, with Tasty Trade or Tasty Works, you can't see that risk profile like I have in my positions tab, but that's where the maximum profit is. And then over here is your profitability that you took in from this initial credit of 20 cents. So again, 120, 80. So this is a great risk to reward ratio. It's got a probability of profit of 67%. It's a pretty interesting trade to me. So why would you do a broken wing butterfly? This is just my perspective, my opinion. This is the first one I put on, but for me, what led to myself putting this trade on? Let me show you. So a couple things that went through my mind, first of all, and it all for me starts at your portfolio. So let me pull up my portfolio and exclude that trade that I just made today. So I took off the broken wing butterfly, but everything else is included. So going into the day and going into this trade, my portfolio beta weighted deltas had reached negative 30, 31, 32 or so. And that's starting to get a little too bearish for my tastes. I want to be around the 20 to 10 negative beta weighted deltas. So I knew that I wanted to find something that would add positive deltas to my portfolio. That tells me a directionally bullish trade in an underlying that's correlated to or is the SPY. So that narrows me down to credit put spreads, this broken wing butterfly, naked put, covered call, those types of strategies. And then honestly, another thing that did factor into my decision was I got a great comment on YouTube of somebody asking why I was so concentrated in these delta neutral strategies. I was doing a lot. I am doing a lot of iron condors, iron flies, strangles in my portfolio, and so they gave the constructive criticism. Why don't you put some more diversified strategies in there? And this was one that had always been interesting for me. So that's not the driving factor, but that was a factor. So it neutralized my deltas a little bit. And then finally, before I placed a trade, I did look at the long-term price chart of SPY. And guys, I don't really believe that by looking at the past chart patterns, you're going to predict where the stock price is going to go. I don't really believe in technical analysis. It's fun to look at, but I've done it for a few years now, and it just doesn't really seem to have anything to it. So looking at it doesn't really tell me anything. I could rather look at tea leaves and make the same assertion. But there you go. So I wanted to be bullish, and so I added the strategy in. As you can see, my portfolio beta weighted deltas dropped from negative 31.8 down to negative 22.8. So I'm getting closer to that range where I want to be. My overall risk profile of my portfolio looks pretty good, pretty solid, and pretty solid trade from my perspective. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the SPY keeps up or just drops a little bit, and I'm able to take out my profit. Now, last thing I'll say, and I'll go ahead and do this here on the live because I didn't do it during the day today. I will set a working order to close this position at a profit, and let's see what happens here if I select 50%. Yep. So it's going to want to close this at a 72-cent credit. Now, this is one of the cool things about broken wing butterflies. If you remember, when I routed this thing initially, I received a 44-cent credit. Now, to close it, you expect to pay something out to close it, right? You took money in to open, you should pay money out to close it. But here, I'm actually going to take more money in to close it. Pretty cool. So here, I'm hoping that the stock price does come back to my short strike area here at 236. That'll hit my maximum profit potential, and I would look to close that at around 72 cents of additional credit. So I'll go ahead and review and send this. It'll show me, and it's even cautioning me because it would expect it to be a debit. So no, I'm sure I want it to be a credit. So that's kind of funny. I'll send the order, and there you go. So now I have my working order here down at the bottom. Mid price is currently at 48 cents. I'm hoping it's going to get it to 72, and I'll be able to close it out. So that's the only trade I made today. hope this video is helpful for you guys. And if you have placed broken wing butterflies in the past, what do you look for when placing that trade? And what's been your success rate? Have you enjoyed the strategy, not enjoyed the strategy? I'd be curious to find out. So comment below, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also if you want to see my trades in more real time, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Option Engineer, and that's where I'll be placing my trades as I go throughout my days. So have a good night, guys. I'll talk to you in the next video. See ya.